This is the next day, actually, and so I took the liberty in kind of cleaning things up and not waste too much more your time or camera time. Now, the neck might be a little too long, but we'll just see about that. And while I was there, I cleaned up the finger. I'm going to put my finger here. I cleaned up the finger, and then I just drilled the hole. That's about for the cigar, and I got a nice little piece going right here, and we'll be doing that shortly. And I also I kept thinking about how to do this. I've done this with Abraham Lincoln, and I've done this with, like I said, Mr. Pilgrim. I'm getting a hat in there, and so I took the bandsaw and just kind of made that just to get me started. I think I can, and then so we can keep working with this because we can take away from the pants a little bit so that, see his hat, see how thin his hat is, so we can get that pretty darn thin. And also with this hat is then I also took the liberty of went ahead and drilled holes, because the reason why I want to put holes in that, even though that, and then I got another piece of wood here that I'll put on there. I like to have a longer piece of wood, so then you just kind of eat off it, and then when you're done with how far you want to go, then you just cut it off after. And the reason why I wanted to drill the hole is that when we shove that in there, you'll still see sort of the innards of the hat, and I just didn't want that to be a solid block. So what's going to happen is just enough. I'm going to clean this out when we get to the hat. Where are you? Clean that out, and then do all this carving and stuff like that. So then it'll still have some depth to the hole. So if people just kind of look to the side a little bit, you'll see a little bit of some. You don't have to get into the piece that's going to come on top of here. I don't believe so. All right, I'll just put those just like I said. And then another thing I did, I just didn't like, I'll turn this in the back. You see what I did here is I did separate that's the shirt and there's the pants, because the pants coming all the way up just didn't look right. And it was much better when I did it with the visor, the magnifying visor. I could see a lot better. And what I did is just simply you draw a line. You just want this. Let me bring this up here with a little bit of light. And I just drew the line, which is just not too far from the belt. Just like how it would look. And then of course you did your V tool, cut across. And then you take your your knife, and you cut the, like I said, about a 10 degree in either direction, and then you shape and form it. Now I wanted the pants kind of goes out a little bit, and then the shirt, see this little bubble here. If I was thinking ahead, I might even have had the shirt come over the belt after a long day's work. We could have done that, but we'll think about that next time. So I would like to get into finishing the cigar, so this hand will be done. I think I got everything else cleaned up. I just cleaned up the boots a little bit. And so on. We'll come back to any other details that I can think of. I'm thinking of one. I'm not going to say it now because I'll probably forget. Okay, so let's get to making a cigar. So we pick up a knife, and the bomb here is getting a little kind of loose. Now I might want to do now a cigar is kind of usually just a cylinder, but then I would say the more the character or cartoon version of a cigar is more kind of like I wonder if I'll do that to make a center line here. is more this kind of elliptical kind of a thing. And I'll start carving it that way. And if it just doesn't look good, I'll just, turn it into a cylinder. This is, for this particular carving, this is a 3/8 piece of wood, square. Like I said, I just grab. It's a good thing I took the ruler to it so I can tell you, but usually I just grab a piece of wood. Oh, it's good, and I don't care what size it is as long as it fits, is all of that I care about. Get the picture kind of ready here, kind of. I'll do the same thing on this side. So I want to do the front, back, and sides first before we round it. I hope I can do this without it snapping off. Sometimes I get too close to this end here and it will snap off, and I'm not interested in snapping it off yet. So then now let's 45-degree angle and start rounding it. And that's why I want to try these things, especially in this video. A lot of the videos I've had in the past are more, it's not so much, okay, let's just take a pattern of something I know and step by step and you're done. I want to add a little bit of experimentation and just learning something and come up with something new. Because I've always wanted to teach people. I just don't want people to just carve and finish something and really not learn anything. And so that's why I'm very interested in showing how I do these things, how I come up with carvings step by step. That's the coming up thereof. All right, I think we're at the point where we can break that off. I want to be careful because, there we go. Now let's see what kind of how this is going to turn out. I want this a little open here. Actually a little, because it's burning. But this end, actually it should be the other way around, I'm sorry. This is a wider end, so this will be the burning end. And this will be the smoking end. Now the drill I drilled was a 1/4 inch. Now I'm going to shape it so it'll fit in there and maybe look a little different, a little better. His hand, because we did not have enough wood, because a lot of people, when they smoke, I suppose it'll be more like this or like this if we had the room, if we had the extra. But I'm just going to have them sort of more relaxed. I could probably cut the hand or the fingers in a little more, but at least for now, shape it so it, I mean, it looks good. Do any more up to dates to it and later, and wondering if that's not a good idea to do the old caricature or cartoon version of having that elliptical kind of thing. I'll decide on that later. So one hand relatively done. Oh, that's a small piece. I better hide that. Let's put that over there on the table there. I hope the cat doesn't find it. Now, in here's the fun part. What I'd like to do, like what I've always done, like with my Santa Clauses, is that if they're holding on to something, like either a stick, a cane, or something when they're holding a tree or something, is I always like to drill the hole first and then do the hand later. And because what happens is that if you do the hand, it's all perfect. I've done this before. And then you drill and then snap, there goes a finger. So, and what happens is, I think that's how they make the old pencil boxes, where the little pencil things where they cut the hole in the block of wood and then they carved around until they come close. And so that's what I want to do is I want to shape this and get this to the point where I think we can get a hat in there. And let's see, I hope the knife is still good because I did a nice, last night I did a nice sharpening. I mean, I don't care about that too much about, well, yeah, I do care some about the, sorry, marks over there, saw marks. I got to keep one hand or one eye on the video because the thing is it's, of course, I want to keep my eye on the carving so I don't cut myself. I just had an individual on YouTube tell me that even though I was trying to teach the eye, and I'll be teaching the eye, and I'm going to try, I'll think about it later, is to actually, I'm looking at the screen. I got an S9, which has a pretty big screen, and see if it is possible that I can do my surgery just, oh boy, that's going to be hard. Because there's still a little bit of a delay. There's just a half a second delay. Oh boy. Because if I'm looking, sometimes I'd be carving and hand in the way and the cat puncture in my hand and knife is in the way and off the screen. I'll try that. You guys will be the guinea pig for these eyes here. But in the meantime, let's get going on this hand. And I want to smooth out some of this. The other thing too, while we're doing this and while we're thinking on it as we're carving, I think this is perfect right here. That's going to end up perfect because that's, I think, the reason that was cut is there's the arm. Now the arm, the shoulder is going to be about here. In other words, that's where the wrinkle, you're going to have a little bit of wrinkle because when you drop your arm, it's not going to be really straight down. And we want it to a little forward. And between the two, one of the rules I have about hands is you carve two hands, or you get close to it. Yeah, we're good here. Is you always finish the smaller hand. If there's one big, this one's bigger, and then you try to match the smaller hand to the bigger hand. So then you'll have the match instead of having this big hand. But the difference here is, yeah, most of his thumb is going to be disappearing. So his thumb, if I should have cut in a little more, so his thumb is going to be like this. So if his thumb is like that, I might go back to the bandsaw and do some more of that. Which means then this is, and he is going to have he's definitely going to have his hands flat, holding on. And I think the thing that's a little different, we may have to adjust it since I was only given this much and I got a bigger hand this way. So I might have to pull this back a little bit. I could still have it as he brings it up. I don't know. We'll figure something more. I'll have to just cut down here. Would probably be best. But, I'm going to have to shut that down. I want to do the bandsaw and bandsaw that in. You right? Okay, so I did extend that. I think we could probably get rid of some of this. So we'll shrink that hand a little bit there. And sometimes what I like to do, like I said, I'll do a little more cleaning. Now the thumb will be on the outside, so this is not good thumb wood here. Oh, come back here. Where are you? That's not good thumb wood. Now what I'd like to do when I'm trying to put things together is like to stop with one, work with the other, and go back and forth until it fits. Now, another way you could have done this, I thought about this, and I still think this is still the easier way of all the other ways. Another way would have been when you made your hat, and you could have just simply cut this hand off and then drill a hole up, and then you have just a little extra for a tab, and you have the hand in there. So in other words, not only is it going to be flat, but then you're going to have your hand in there like this. And so you see you cut down and leaving the hand. I think it makes the hat a little harder to carve. It's your choice. But I'm fairly comfortable with what we're doing here. And so what I want to do, give that a rest, is I want to get this hat, and you'll notice how it flattens. Get the drill out, or not drill, the chisel out again. Now, if it's going to go, it looks like, see how the grain goes kind of this way, and then it goes this way. So I was going to think, see this way, if you did this, now we need to do a little bit. Now I want to almost call it just a little bit off, but almost straight from here to here. It just that flips up and it looks like it's off. I'll adjust that if we need be, but for now, at least for the roughing out, I want to just pretend that that's all a straight line. And we'll definitely do something after that. And then from here, and then it comes up. And we use all of that, and it kind of slowly comes down. Now, like I've mentioned before, oh, geez, get up here. Yeah, every time I go away, I have to keep adjusting this to come back. Is that Lynn Dowdy's, is it Out West? What was that? It was his is, there it is, West, oh no, I don't know, Out West something.com. You know, Lynn Doughy, LYNNDOUGHTY. And he's got a blog spot. So he's got a blog site. He's got that, and then he also has YouTube. And his is it's a little bit of what he's doing. That's why I didn't want to copy too much of his. And he is, the way he does the hat is much more. I mean, what he does is you do the head. Of course, the head is separate from the body, so there's two pieces here, and then you'd actually cut this off here at this angle, and so he's got the flat top. Then you got a piece like this, and you just put it on top of the head, round it, or take your pencil and just cut in a bit so when you put it in on top, it looks like it's in. And then the same thing with the block of wood up here. And most of the stuff is scrap wood. And he talks about this using your scrap. And this is a piece of scrap, and I decided to use that other longer piece for the top because it's better for me to do. Okay, so here comes the fun. Where goes my glove? Right there. Let's all take a deep breath. Where's my, there it is. See, I did give this a little bit of a, oh yeah, oh no, it's still got it cuts nice, relatively clean, but it still has that, what do you call it, that scratch mark? Do you see that? My knife had that, it's a little scratch mark. And most of the time, as if I'm really getting into the carving, I don't want to stop as long as it cuts good. And like I said, when I'm cutting by myself, nobody's looking, and who cares if it looks like. Okay, and I'll keep going, but another thing I should have done, I'll do that, I'll stop in a little bit here, but I should have cut out the hole first. And again, my hand is in the way, but it's a matter of, I think my next video, I am going to experiment with putting it on my left side, see what happens. Sorry, you guys are the guinea pigs, as it were, of all my new ideas. And yeah, you know what? Let me do that. At least get the. Oh, jeez. Now another way I carve, of course, if we all carve, is on our lap, and I just don't want to have a video of. Get out of there. Get out of there. A video of you always looking at my lap. But let's pull out a nice rounded number 9 just to get started. Now I want to be careful. What I'm doing here is, you notice my hand is on the other side. So I just want to do this very carefully. And be nice. Now this other glove I have is just a regular garden type style glove. And that's all it's for. And you can see where it's already starting to wear through. That is the place that wears through first. Because when I have my number 5 and I'm doing this, it'll jab into my palm there, and so I'm not pushing hard. I know my hand is on the other side. It's like pretending that you know that somebody is on the other side. Or this is on somebody's head. See, you can tell by... Now this I'll have to be a little more careful because I know I got most of it off. As I've mentioned earlier, make sure you go to as many carving classes as you can, because not only, you know, I don't know if this has ever happened to you. It's happened to me several times. It's like you're told something and it really doesn't register. And you're told again and again. And then for some reason, it's how this another person says it, that it's like an epiphany. Even though you've heard what he just said or she just said for the umpteenth time, it's just something about having it be said or presented a different way that you get it. And that's why, you know, these videos are good. And all these other, like I said, Lynn's videos are good too, and all the others out there. But it's always good to get out there into the world of, no, it's not the world of make-believe now. The world of instructing. And it is true, somebody who is an instructor, as a matter of fact, there was an individual who did, they did competition. He's one of those that judged. And he told me, this was a while ago too, and it still makes sense today, not trying to be, you know, uppity or anything like that, but he said, you know, I can go to a table with somebody's wood carving, and that person, and I'd look at the quality of it, and that person would say, I have never taken a wood carving class in my life. And I always say right back to these kind of people, I say, yep, I know and I can tell. And it gives you a sense of pride that you did something on your own. But it is a lot of fun seeing other people's perspective.